Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiaku. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari rules out living inheritance for his children. NPC to recruit 3 million Nigerians. Portal opens September. Plus, Sunak tops first round of Tory contest. Details of these stories and more in a moment. Personal news tonight. President Muhammad Buhari says he is not leaving any inheritance for his children beyond the training and education he gave them. The president stated this at the palace of the Emir of Daura, Farouk Umar Farouk in Daura, during Salah homage. He also appealed to parents to inculcate the right values in children, including deep fear of God, respect for constituted authorities, and living purposeful life through continuous education. The president charged youths to seek education, not for government jobs, which are unavailable, but to arm themselves with skill and ability to fight poverty and to meet the needs of the 21st century. Meanwhile, President Buhari has felicitated the former president of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, and current chairman, International Press Center, Lanre Arogundade, as he turns 60. President Buhari's birthday message is contained in a statement signed by his senior special assistant in media and publicity, Garba Shehu. According to Adeshina, the president lauded the former president of the Educator and renowned journalist for his relentless efforts in promoting freedom of the press, democratic principles, and transparency during electoral processes. He therefore joined family, friends, colleagues, and well-wishers in praying for continued health and happiness for the sexagenarian. On legislative matters, Senate Committee on Public Accounts has threatened to issue a warrant of arrest on the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health and other officials over mismanagement of more than 5.7 billion naira donor funds from international organizations. At a panel hearing, the chairman of the committee, Senator Matthew Urogide, said they were left with no option but to issue a warrant of arrest since the ministry had failed to give account of the money spent. Urogide lamented that the alleged mismanagement of funds had made some of the donors suspend the assistance due to reports emanating from the Ministry of Health agencies. The mismanagement was unveiled in the 2016 Auditor General's report, currently under consideration. A copy of the query by the Auditor General, made available to newsmen, noted that expenditures made by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency between January 1, 2010 and March 31, 2015 amounted to over 8 billion naira, out of which over 187 million naira was not supported with any document. Still on the legislature, the National Assembly management has barred workers from lobbying lawmakers to influence their postings and deployments, and threatened to sanction those who flout the public service rules. The warning, contained in a circular signed by the Directorate of Human Resources and Staff Development, Abiodun Oladoyin, was addressed to the Deputy Clerk to the National Assembly, Clerk to the Senate, Clerk to the House of Representatives, all Secretaries, Deputy Clerk to the Senate, Deputy Clerk to the House, all Directors, and all staff members. The circular said, consequently, staff members are advised to strictly abide by public service rules, which state that no officer shall seek the influence of prominent persons or any other for ensuring the due consideration of his or her claims in matters connected with discipline or with a view to obtaining consideration for appointment, transfer, promotion, or posting. On security matters, officers and men of the Nigeria security forces and paramilitary agencies have been advised to remain vigilant and continually remain on the watch to defeat criminal elements. Minister of Interior Rauf Arabashola, who spoke when he paid a surprise visit to the Kirikiri Maximum and Medium Security Custodial Centers in Kirikiri, Apapa, Lagos State, acknowledged the sacrifices security agencies had made so far. He further charged them to remain vigilant, continuously evolve strategies, and make decisions not based on fear, but on wisdom to defend the country's institutions, territory, and constitution. Away from that, National Population Commission will recruit 3 million ad hoc staff for the 2023 population census. NPC National Commissioner representing Kaduna State, Abdul Malik Durungoa, confirmed this in Kaduna State at a town hall meeting on the trial census. Durungoa announced that the website for the recruitment would be opened in September for interested applicants. He said the trial census, which would run till the end of July, was a dress rehearsal for the 2023 population and housing census. Durungoa also solicited the support and cooperation of all stakeholders towards the success of the exercise. To the judiciary now, where a federal high court in Abuja has fixed tomorrow for judgment in a suit seeking the disqualification of Governor Adeboyega Oyetola of Osun State as the All Progressives Congress APC candidate in the July 16 governorship election. Justice Inyako fixed the date after counsel for the parties adopted their processes and presented their arguments in the matter today. The plaintiff in the suit and the chieftain of the APC, Moshood Adeoti, had filed the matter through his legal team led by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Chiesonu Okpoko. Adeoti was one of the aspirants who lost the APC governorship ticket to Governor Oyetola in the party's primary on February 19. In the originating summons, he prayed the court to nullify Oyetola's candidacy on the grounds that the governor contested in the poll as a member of the party's caretaker extraordinary and convention planning committee. The plaintiff said the act contravened the provisions of Section 222 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and Article 31 of the APC October 2014 as amended. Governor Oyetola is seeking to extend his tenure in office by another 4 years, having won the last election in 2018. In the meantime, candidates from all political parties contesting in the July 16 Osun State governorship election have signed a peace accord. This is coming barely 3 days to the gubernatorial election. The convener of the National Peace Committee, Bishop Matthew Kuka, observed that violence was a fundamental threat to Nigeria's democracy. He, however, charged the aspirants and politicians to see the signing of the peace accord as a symbolic commitment to democracy, adding that Nigeria was in dire need of a peaceful environment. Also speaking, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, appealed to all political parties, candidates, and other actors to play their part in supporting the peace accord. Still on Saturday's Osun governorship election, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has extended the collection of permanent voter cards to tomorrow for those interested in exercising their franchise. In a statement on the Commission's verified Twitter page, INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu appealed to all registered voters who were yet to collect their PVCs to seize the opportunity of the additional measures to do so. According to him, 76% of the PVCs have already been collected by citizens as of Sunday, July 10. In the meantime, Inspector General of Police Usman Baba has deployed about 21,000 policemen for Saturday's Osun governorship election. Baba, who made this known during a stakeholders meeting by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), said the deployment was part of the election security plan. According to the IGP, all three senatorial districts, 332 wards and polling units have been appropriately mapped out and put for the deployment of adequate personnel who will be on the ground to maintain peace and order before, during, and after the election. He said the police will be deployed to protect the facilities of INEC and its personnel, and that the deployment was not to intimidate, but to ensure peaceful process of election and curb violent tendencies.
This massive deployment is not intended to intimidate law-abiding citizens. Rather, it is to deter misguided elements that might bend on threatening the election through acts of thuggery or other conduct that violate the provisions. This massive deployment is not intended to intimidate law-abiding citizens. Rather, it is to deter misguided elements that might bend on threatening the election through acts of thuggery or other conduct that violate the provisions. This massive deployment is not intended to intimidate law-abiding citizens. Rather, it is to deter misguided elements that might bend on threatening the election through acts of thuggery or other conduct that violate the provisions.
Away from that, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has ordered a total ban on all use of police spy vehicle number plates by vehicle owners across the states of the Federation without exception. This was contained in a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi today. The statement was titled Internal Security. IGP bans use of spy number plates nationwide, directs reversal to original registered number plates, seizure of spy plates. According to the release, the order was necessary to forestall the continuous disregard for traffic rules and regulations and other extant laws guiding road use by individuals hiding under the privileges of spy police number plates. In education, the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU says the federal government is responsible for the union's prolonged strike and not the members. It could be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari had on Monday told striking lecturers to consider the future generation and resume work so students could return to school. In an interview with journalists, ASU's national president Emmanuel Sodeki therefore appealed to Nigerians to ask the government when it would sign the agreement reached at the just concluded renegotiation meeting. On his part, human rights lawyer Femi Falana also called on President Buhari to urgently address ASU's needs. In a statement, Falana accused the government of ignoring warning strikes initially embarked upon by the union. Still in education, the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers NUPENG is threatening to join in the proposed nationwide strike following the prolonged ASU, NASU and SANU industrial actions that have left activities in tertiary institutions paralyzed for the past 8 months. In a statement signed by its national president Williams Akporeha and General Secretary Afolabi Olawale, the union condemned the alleged lackadaisical attitude of the federal government towards finding a lasting solution to the crisis. The union described the strike as unfortunate and sad, alleging that it showed the insensitivity of the government towards promoting and projecting good and quality education. Elsewhere, Nigeria Medical Association Bauchi State Branch has condemned the attack with an axe on one of its members. The principal medical officer in charge of Misau General Hospital in the state, Dr. Mohammed Sani, by an uncle to a woman who delivered a child at the hospital. Speaking to journalists at a press conference, the chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association Bauchi State Branch, Dr. Adamu Sambo, said the man had hacked the doctor with an axe in an attempt to kill him over the treatment of his niece. He said the woman was rushed to the Misau General Hospital for her first delivery, but developed complications and had to be operated upon. In Cross River State, Governor Benedict Ayade has granted all judicial officers in the state immediate land allocation. Governor Ayade also said, as a matter of state government's policy, any judicial officer sworn in will have his or her official car ready for delivery. He also approved new recruitment into the state's judicial service, noting that the state has witnessed massive vacancy occasioned by retirement. Ayade said his administration had approved the setting aside of 25% of the gross emoluments to support judicial officers' allowances in terms of vacation, travels, among others, and pledged the support of his government for the judiciary.
In order to improve your services, Cross River State government is encouraging the other states and federal government to adopt our position to do the following. One, from August 1st, 2022, the salaries of the High Court judges will be increased by 100%. Judges of the customary Court of Appeal, 100%. Magistrates, 50%. All judicial officers will have immediate land allocation. Any judicial officer that will sworn in will have his official card ready before the swearing ceremony. Massive vacancy has occurred in the ministry and the judicial system occasioned by retirements. Accordingly, we have approved for the Chief Judge, with the support of the Head of Service and the Civil Service Commission, to recruit 500 staff as a first phase. We also have approved a setting aside of 25% of your gross emolument to support all your allowances in terms of vacations, travels, journals, and all other things that you may so require from time to time.
Still to come in the news. Sun advocates strict adherence to standards for Nigeria's global competitiveness. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Moving on now to Africa, where the South African police have launched a manhunt for suspects who stole a boxing belt donated to Nelson Mandela by U.S. champion Sugar Ray Leonard. The world champion belt, worth about $3,000, have been on display at the Mandela House Museum in Soweto. Police spokesperson Colonel Dimakatso Selo told reporters that a case of theft was opened with the police on July 2. It is alleged that staff who reported for duty at the famous museum on Vilakazi Street, where the anti-apartheid icon lived between 1946 and 1962, noticed that the locks had been tampered with the day before. On investigation, it was established that the belt had been taken, but it is unclear at this stage if anything else was stolen. Still in Africa, civil parties in the case of the jailed former senior Rwandan official Laurent Busiebaruta have welcomed the ruling by a Paris court after handing him 20 years for complicity in the African nation's genocide. The parties said this was a relief for the victims of atrocities during the 1994 massacres, in which an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus died in 100 days of mass killings. According to lawyer of the Collective of Civil Parties for Rwanda, Simon Foreman, the most important thing is that the trial took place, that the man who embodied the power in his prefecture was obliged, even if it took 28 years, to explain himself in front of the victims, in the presence of the survivors, and to listen to the survivors' accounts. On the foreign scene, Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has told the military to do whatever is necessary to restore order after protesters stormed his office. Wickremesinghe has been appointed acting president by outgoing leader Gotabaya Rajapaksa and has declared a state of emergency in the country. This comes after President Rajapaksa fled overnight on a military jet accompanied by his wife days after demonstrators overran his residence. He has pledged to stand down today amid mass protests over the island's worst economic crisis in decades. A curfew has been imposed in Western Province, which includes the capital, Colombo. Reports say for months, people have been struggling with daily power cuts and shortages of basics like fuel, food, and medicines, while thousands have taken to the streets in anger in recent weeks, with many blaming the Rajapaksa family and their government for the situation. Still on the foreign scene, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has ruled out ceding territory to Russia as part of any peace deal and said no peace talks were underway between Moscow and Kyiv. He told a briefing that the objective of Ukraine in the war was to liberate its territories as well as restore its territorial integrity and full sovereignty in the east and south of Ukraine. Kuleba insisted that this was the end point of Ukraine's negotiating position. Russia reportedly took control of Luhansk province in eastern Ukraine this month and hopes to capture all territory it does not yet control in neighboring Donetsk, the other province in the industrial Donbas region. Still on the crisis in Ukraine, G20 finance leaders will meet in Bali this week for talks due to include issues like global food security and soaring inflation. This is as the host Indonesia tries to ensure frictions over the war in Ukraine do not blow discussions off course. Indonesia said Russian Finance Minister Anton Siluanov will address the meeting virtually, with his deputy traveling to Bali. Ukraine's finance minister has also been invited and is due to attend one session virtually. Indonesia hopes to issue a communique when talks wrap up on Saturday, though its central bank governor said the meeting would be summarized in a chair's statement if that is not feasible. Indonesian officials have noted disagreements between Western countries and Russia on how to word a draft communique to describe the state of the global economy and how it is being affected by the war in Ukraine, which Moscow calls a special military operation. Meanwhile, Germany has dismissed as propaganda a Russian decree that simplifies rules for Ukrainians to obtain Russian passports. Russia said residents of areas of southern and eastern Ukraine occupied since February's invasion are entitled to become Russian citizens, a move that Ukraine and Western countries say confirms that Moscow plans to retain control of those regions. The German spokesperson said it was part of Russian propaganda. Elsewhere, rail staff will again strike on July 27 in an ongoing dispute over pay, jobs and conditions. The Rail, Maritime and Transport Union announced this after rejecting a new offer from Network Rail, which they described as paltry. The company, which runs Great Britain's rail infrastructure, offered a 4% pay rise for the whole of 2022, followed by a possible 4% next year if workers accepted changes in working conditions. However, the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union said the offers represented attacks on their terms and conditions. The union said it had yet to receive a pay offer or guarantees over job losses from the train operating companies. In another development, U.S. President Joe Biden is in Israel at the start of a landmark regional tour, which will include a reportedly controversial visit to Saudi Arabia. It is said to be his first trip to the Middle East since taking office. Biden will also meet the Palestinian president as well as Israeli and Saudi leaders. Palestinians have expressed frustration that the United States has not done more for them since Biden's presidency began in 2021. However, the main focus will be on his Saudi trip due to tensions over human rights. Biden has faced criticisms over his planned meeting on Saturday with the kingdom's de facto leader, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who was accused by U.S. intelligence agencies of approving the murder of Saudi dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi in Turkey in 2018. The prince denied the allegations, and Saudi prosecutors blamed rogue Saudi agents. Moving on now to India, where the government has defended the look of the national emblem on top of the new parliament building amid criticisms over its appearance. The new statue, adapted from an ancient Indian sculpture, was unveiled by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday. The 6.5-meter tall cast shows 4 Asiatic lions mounted back-to-back on a circular disc. Critics say the new lions look ferocious and stray from their original depiction. Opposition leaders have also criticized the government, saying that the new avatar of the emblem, adapted from the lion capital of Ashoka, a sculpture that was atop one of the several pillars erected by Emperor Ashoka during his reign in 250 BC, was a brazen insult to India's national symbol. However, a federal government minister, Hardeep Puri, dismissed the criticisms, saying the statue was a perfect replica of the original, except for the size. Puri added that if an exact replica of the original were to be placed on the new building, it would barely be visible beyond the peripheral rail. Now in the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak is leading the first ballot in the Conservative leadership race with 88 votes. Penny Mordaunt got 67 votes and Liz Truss secured 50 votes. On their part, Nadhim Zahawi and Jeremy Hunt failed to achieve the required 30 votes and exited the contest. Kemi Badenoch, Suella Braverman and Tom Tugendhat are all also among the remaining 6 candidates going through to another vote tomorrow. In our business news, the euro has fallen below the symbolic level of $1 for the first time since December 2002, weighed down by the darkening economic outlook for the single currency area and the possibility of a complete stoppage in Russian gas supplies. The euro was pushed down today after official data showed a surge in U.S. inflation in June, increasing expectations for a further tightening of interest rates by the U.S. Federal Reserve. An increase in borrowing costs on the other side of the Atlantic makes the U.S. dollar more attractive to investors. Head macroeconomist at Equity Capital in London, Stuart Cole, said the factors will make it harder for the European Central Bank to raise interest rates, further widening the interest rate differential with the United States. Still in business, International Air Transport Association IATA says Nigeria and other Africa in aviation sector could lose about $0.7 billion this year to slow COVID-19 vaccination rates. The association stated this in a short video on its social media page. It said lower vaccination rates slowed Africa's air travel recovery, but some catching up could happen this year. It could be recalled that the association had announced that the aviation sector in the region recorded a rise in traffic in May. Away from that, the Standards Organization of Nigeria says locally produced goods should adhere strictly to standards to be competitive globally. Director General of the organization, Farouk Salim, stated this at the flagging off of a campaign tagged Standardization Panacea for Economic Growth in Enugu. Salim said adhering to standardization and quality assurance would make Nigerian products and services more acceptable in the international market. In a separate development, following the expiration of the amnesty by the Voluntary Assets and Incomes Declaration Scheme, the Joint Tax Board, in collaboration with the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), is set to commence a full-scale enforcement exercise on defaulting taxpayers. FIRS Executive Chairman Mohammed Nami said the exercise, including prosecution, would affect taxpayers who did not take advantage of the scheme. Taxpayers who had outstanding tax liabilities which had previously been declared under the scheme were encouraged to pay up to avoid having the reliefs cancelled. Now, Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, is reportedly the only African billionaire to feature among the top 100 based on Bloomberg Billionaire Index. According to the rating, the Kano-born businessman is now $20.2 billion rich and the 63rd in the world. The Bloomberg Billionaires Index is a daily ranking of the world's richest people. Away from that, bank-backed reforms in Nigeria's electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, are revealing the true state and regulatory gaps among the bureau of public enterprise, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC), and handlers of the 11 utility companies. The situation comes few days after NEC announced a contract-based electricity market, which stakeholders said may signal the worst days ahead for the sector, insisting that there already exists a breach of the national confidence reposed in the bureau and NEC. It could be recalled that at least 5 firms, Abuja Disco, Benin Disco, Ibadan Disco, Kaduna and Kano Discos, had fallen into the hands of the banks they took credit from, after they were unable to break even 8 years since they were licensed, and the bureau and NEC announced that the core share of 60% of 3 discos was taken over due to default in their acquisition loans taken in 2013. Still to come in the news. Super Falcons USA clash in double-header friendly September. Do stay with us.
A knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new wave of the stock market, forex market, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs creates new dynamics towards emerging market millionaires and billionaires. From the dot-com era to the oil booms, the fundamental news drives the market. This is Business 360, taking you to the business around the globe. Join us from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 360, your prism to world businesses.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court, my lord.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now in health, no fewer than 27 new cases of circulating mutant poliovirus type 2 have been reported in Nigeria in 2022. According to the Global Polio Eradication Initiative report, Nigeria has also reported 3 circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 positive environmental samples from Kano, Borno, and Gombe states. The report said Nigeria was classified by the international health regulations as a state infected with the ailment with a potential risk of international spread and is therefore subject to temporary recommendations as of February 2022. Addressing journalists, a medical microbiologist at the Lagos State University, Professor Bola Oyefolu, said polio cases were underreported in the country due to stigmatization as well as religious and cultural beliefs. In sports, African champion Super Falcons of Nigeria will take on the United States of America in 2 friendly matches in September. According to the Nigeria Football Federation, the first friendly will take place at the Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Kansas on September 3. The second duel between both countries will hold 3 days later at the Audi Field in Washington, D.C. The Super Falcons will face the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon in a quarter-final fixture at the 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations tomorrow. Reports say the highly anticipated encounter is billed for the Stade Mohammed V, Casablanca. Meanwhile, the USA has already qualified for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, becoming the 12th team to reach the finals and the first team from the CONCACAF region. In the meantime, Bundesliga club Hertha Berlin have announced the signing of Nigeria winger Chidera Ejuke on loan from CSKA Moscow. Ejuke capitalized on the Federation of International Football Association FIFA rule that allows foreign footballers from the Russian Premier League to unilaterally suspend their contracts at Russian clubs until the summer of 2023 to trigger the move. The 24-year-old told Hertha Berlin's official website that he was looking forward to playing for the club, as well as anticipating the Bundesliga and the special challenge, and promised to do his best for the team. Now, Chelsea has announced the arrival of Raheem Sterling from Manchester City. The Blues confirmed Sterling's transfer in a test statement on social media today. The England international's signing means Todd Boehly has finally made major recruitments since taking over the club from Roman Abramovich. Reports say the 27-year-old will cost the Blues a fee believed to worth £50 million. Sterling has signed a 5-year contract worth significantly more than the £300,000 a week he was paid by City, and more than £290,000 per week that N'Golo Kante earns at Stamford Bridge. Still in sports, Barcelona manager Xavi Hernandez is ready to sell at least 7 players this summer transfer window as he looks to bolster his squad ahead of next season. According to reports, the players Xavi wants to ship out of Barcelona before the start of the 2022-2023 season are Neto, Samuel Umtiti and Martin Braithwaite. Others are academy duo Oscar Mingueza and Riqui Puig, with fellow La Masia graduate Ray Manaj joining English Championship side Watford. Meanwhile, Memphis Depay could also be on his way out of Barcelona just 1 year after joining from Lyon. And on our entertainment news, appeal court sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State has ordered MultiChoice to sub-license some of its channels to Metro Digital in line with the code of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission (NBC). Delivering his judgment today, Justice Olabode Adebehimbe dismissed the ruling of the lower court, which dismissed the suit of the appellant Metro Digital, despite proving the existence of the dispute between itself and the first respondent MultiChoice. Justice Adebehimbe also urged the second respondent, NBC, to compel MultiChoice to follow the court order within 21 days. MultiChoice was joined in the suit as the first respondent, while NBC and the Ministry of Information and Culture were second and third respondents. The judge further asserted that NBC breached its statutory duties for failing to issue directives to the complainants of the dispute by the appellant. He said the inactions of NBC frustrated the appellant business and infringed on its rights. Still on entertainment, Succession is leading the charge for this year's Emmy Awards with 25 nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series and Lead Actor for Scotsman, Brand Cuggs's portrayal of media mogul Logan Roy. Cuggs will go up against his co-star and on-screen son, U.S. actor Jeremy Strong. Elsewhere, English actress Lily James is nominated for Best Actress in a limited series for playing Pamela Anderson in Pam and Tommy. And fellow Brit Jodie Comer is up for Outstanding Actress in a Drama Series. The Liverpudlian is up against her Killing Eve co-star Sandra Oh for the award, as well as Euphoria actress Zendaya plus Laura Linney and Reese Witherspoon. And finally, on entertainment, Twitter has taken billionaire Elon Musk to court to try to force him to buy the social media firm, setting up a legal battle. This comes after Musk announced that he was walking away from his proposed $44 billion acquisition of the firm. Musk claimed Twitter had not given information about the number of fake and spam accounts on the platform. Now, Twitter has asked a Delaware court to order Musk to complete the merger at the agreed $54.2 per Twitter share. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.com. spectrum.tv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. You have a terrific night rest.